Thank y'all for watching. My name is Chani Kinsler, also known as CK the Poet on the Xbox One, and this is my Let's Run It series where I talk about video games that are fun, interesting, unique, creative, but also have a little bit of an educational element to them that can be enjoyed by both adults and children. And today, we're going to talk about the Turing Test. First, I'm going to show off some of the settings, and then we're going to show off some gameplay. So, some audio here. Some music, voice, sound effects. You know, pretty cut and dry when it comes to the settings. And then you have other stuff, crosshairs, subtitles. You know, turn the brightness as bright as you want or as dim as you want. Do you? Also motion blur. I have that turned off. Have no need for it. You can change the sensitivity if you like and invert the camera for those people that prefer to have an inverted camera. So, chapter select. This game has 7 chapters. It has a prologue and an epilogue. Each chapter has 10 sectors, so that's a total of about, 70 or so puzzles. But combined with the bonus puzzles or the little side puzzles that you do, it's close to 100 puzzles. Not quite. Close to 100 puzzles. Close enough. So I decided to show off some gameplay of chapter 3. Some of the more difficult puzzles are in like chapter 4, but hey, I digress. I want to kind of get through the game quickly. I don't want you to see me struggling with a puzzle forever. So there's only 2 bad things I'm going to say about this game, and that is the loading times, which for some odd reason when I decided to record this video, the loading wanted to be super quick, but the loading times were pretty bad. Like when I first played this game, that was one thing that stood out to me. And sometimes when you ran up to things, it would take a minute for like the textures to pop in, but it's barely noticeable. Most people aren't going to notice it while they're playing this game.
Since mankind first entered space,
so
the debate has raged
while I'm showing off some gameplay of this game here, I'm going to be talking about the company, the game, why I selected, and probably, some other little stuff that I would like to say towards the end here. So, history lesson, the Turing Test. This game came out in August of 2016. It was developed by Bulkhead Studios, which is based in the United Kingdom. This is their first game as a studio. The studio used to be 2 separate studios called Deco Digital and Bevel Studios. They originally worked on Lumia Breath of Life together that came out back in 2015. That game was a hit. So I guess they thought the game was a hit. Sold a lot of money. A lot of people liked the game. We worked really well together. Let's make a smart business decision and combine as one studio and make good games together. Smart business plan. Smart business decision, I mean. Lumia Breath of Life is also a puzzle game, which if you subscribe to my lovely channel, you might see me do a video on that in the future. But when it came to the Turing Test, Bulkhead Studios decided to work with Square Enix, a very well-known publisher and game developer, to bring their game or to publish their game on other platforms. Square Enix has what is called the Square Enix Collective, which is basically an indie game initiative that they started to work more with independent game developing companies. A very smart decision. Very similar to ID at Xbox, where basically Xbox, they're starting to work more with independent developers, hence the ID part, to bring their games to their platform, which I think is awesome. I say the more that these publishers and companies that have the money to help these independent game studios get their game out to the gamers, the better. We'll be able to experience creativity and unique style from other countries all over the world. That makes gamers happy, and that allows these developers to showcase what they can do. And a lot of these games touch on interesting topics and really important conversations that we do need to start having as a society that sometimes people feel a little iffy about touching. So, the Turing Test. When it comes to Bulkhead Studios, I really feel like they did a really good job on this game. This is the first game that they did, and boy, did they come out swinging when they made this game. We're going to talk a little bit more about this game here in a little bit. But if you would like to play any other games made by Bulkhead Studios, they did release a game in January of 2018, this year, called Battalion 1944. It's basically a first-person shooter based in World War II. If you play Call of Duty 2, or if you play Call of Duty World at War, you'll like that game, and the reviews on it are pretty high. So, back to the Turing Test. Just in case you're not familiar with this game is a single-player puzzle game where you play as Ava Turing. She's a engineer that's working at a research station, and you'll be utilizing the device that you see that I'm using in this gameplay called the EMT, or the Energy Manipulation Tool. And you'll be using it a lot. It is very important to the core gameplay mechanics and the logic that you have to use when it comes to manipulating things and completing the puzzles in the game. So why did I decide to pick it for my Let's Run It series? This game has an educational element where you basically have to think outside the box. You have to use creativity. You have to use critical thinking, deductive reasoning. You have to think outside the box. You know, you have to solve all these different puzzles, and you don't solve them all the same way. And they start to introduce other ways how you can use something as simple as the little box that you see me holding in my hand in the video. Sometimes you're not going to always just be putting it into a device to give something power. You may be using it for other means as well. So that was the main thing for me when it came to picking this game, is the puzzles. The puzzles were done very well. They were really challenging, but difficult enough to where you felt like really accomplished. And another thing that I really liked about this game is that they didn't just give you a gang of easy puzzles or just a gang of hard puzzles. They'll give you some easy puzzles, then some hard puzzles. Some easy puzzles, then some hard puzzles. It's almost like the developers were kind enough to think about gamers, you know, sitting there for hours playing their game, enjoying their game. Let's give them a little bit of a break. You know, let's throw some easy puzzles their way, then let's throw some more difficult puzzles that require a little bit more thinking, a little bit more thought. And the game also gives you a break by introducing the beautiful story. They did an awesome job on the story, and it's really centered around, you know, the real life Turing test, the Turing test, the test to basically determine the difference between a human being and a robot.
That is creativity, thinking outside.
And you'll hear little narrations throughout the game where, you know, Ava will be saying something. That's who you're playing as, is Ava Turing, and then she'll be having these very intellectual conversations with the AI Tom, which is an acronym as well in the game.
Computer's method of creativity is to
So,
try everything until something works.
For a game that's made by an independent game developing company, like, they put a lot into this game, like the attention to detail, the
It perhaps started with one organism.
very
From there,
suspenseful
it essentially
story
tried to
that reels
create
you
every
in,
organism it
that
could.
has these plot twists in
Those
them,
organisms that
and
did
even the
not survive
ending, which I'm not going to spoil it for you.
So,
It does have two
nature's
alternative
creative
endings, so
force
you will have to, you
is to
know,
try
play
every
the
conceivable
ending again to
idea.
basically get the alternative
Those ideas
ending.
that work survive.
But I like that though. They did a really good job on this game. Like, you can pick up different objects and,
Because the
and
solution to the
inspect
biological
those
process
objects,
are not
turn them
always good
around, flip them
solutions.
around,
As we see,
to really look at the
nature
detail and
is
how
morally
hard they worked
unrelevant.
on making this game look so beautiful.
create morally
And that's just
suboptimal
rare where you
ideas
see a
to
game
fulfill its creative mandate.
made so beautifully by a
We see
company
this in
that
Paris
doesn't have a whole lot of
worms,
money,
viruses,
but it's just
and pathogens.
awesome when they get backed by a developer that's not trying to utilize them to make money off of them. And I'll talk a little bit about that later towards the end of this video. Another thing that I want to say about this game too as well is that this game reminds me of a game made by Valve called Portal. And just in case you're not familiar with Portal, it was a game where you use a little device just like how you see me using in this video, but you use that device to solve puzzles. And sometimes you would have to pick
As
boxes up as well and
creative
move them around, but you also would make a portal that you can go through and then another
believe
portal that
yourself
you
to
would
be a
come out
creative.
of.
But in mathematical
And
terms,
Valve did an
creativity
awesome
is
job
merely
with that
constraint
game,
of
and They did such a great job with that game, and it did so well that they ended up coming out with a part 2 where you could play it cooperatively.
Creating an organic
But
solution to a problem.
back to this game.
In the human mind,
The Turing
divergent
Test,
thoughts
when
are
I played this
created and
game,
then
that's just the
curated
first
by
thing that
the
came to my
functional
mind when I played this game, is it
I can
reminded me of
create
Portal.
divergent thoughts
And it was nice. Like, it didn't feel like they were copying Portal. It just felt like they just took something similar to, you know,
in that it is
a
developed
game that
for
everybody likes and just
biological
made it their own.
whether that is the process
Which
of evolution,
I can adore
or
that
a
just as
computer
much as
system.
anything else with a company, when they decide to make something their own and put their own unique stamp on it. And as you can see here, this puzzle that I'm doing right here, this isn't part of the normal puzzles in the chapters. This is actually one of the side puzzles that you do, one of the little bonus puzzles, and if you do them all, you do get an achievement. And some of them are kind of weird, you know, they kind of like make you think like, okay, like what's going on here? But it's really interesting. The game also gives you little breaks by also introducing a lot of voice recordings that you listen to that goes even deeper into the story, and it makes you like even wonder even more like what's going on here. Okay, what happened or what's going to happen? Which, you know, I love a game with a good story, and I feel like any game that does a good job at providing a good story gets an okay from me. So, the Turing Test. How can you get your hands on this game? This game is only $20. Pretty cheap. You can play it on Xbox, you can play it on Steam, so you can play it on the computer. And you can also play this game on the PlayStation 4. Let's just say you don't have $20 or you don't want to spend $20 on this game. This game is also part of the Xbox Game Pass. Which, if you're not familiar with the Xbox Game Pass, it's basically similar to like a membership service that you pay for to get games without necessarily paying the full price for them, which is awesome. So any game that's part of the Xbox Game Pass, you get to just pay it without paying for it. So this game right here, I played while I had Xbox Game Pass. I did not pay any money for the game. I only paid like $1 for the Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass normally costs $10, and it's $100 for the year. And it's worth it though, because they just recently started saying that with Xbox that they're going to allow other games, indie games, you know, other different games, not just, you know, the smaller games, but some of the bigger games as well, to be part of the Game Pass, and also Microsoft exclusive games. So it's definitely worth it. I really enjoyed this game. At first, I just tried it out. I just got the Xbox Game Pass and I just downloaded a gang of games that I thought I might like. And this was one of them. And I ended up loving this game. I ended up playing this game to death. And I played it again to get all the achievements in the game because this game was just so good. So when it comes to a game like this, and why I picked it for my Let's Run It series is because of its educational element. And that being with the puzzles, the logic, the critical thinking, the thinking outside the box, the challenge of just doing something out of the norm instead of playing, you know, fighting games all the time, shooting games all the time, racing games all the time. I believe that this is a really good game to introduce to children. And I also think that this would be a good game to get for a loved one or even for yourself, just to play something different than what you normally play.
Actually, Tom, I think I'm okay for help.
Right you are.
So, with that being said, the Turing Test, as you can see here, another thing I forgot to mention was the screen on the left
Can I have an update on the crew?
that I keep looking
I have
at.
not managed
It
to
basically
track them
shows
down.
you your progression through the floors.
I've seen them.
So as you can see, it was a lot smaller at the beginning, and now it's getting a little bit bigger. So
They
as you
have
get
locked
towards the
all
end,
doors.
you get to the last
I
two
would not
like
expect a
squares.
warm reception.
Well, at least
And
they're
just showing off the
expecting
gameplay, you can see the beautiful graphics. You can see me manipulating different things. Sometimes I have to move things around. Sometimes I have to get the little power spears, I believe that they're called, and I basically grab them and put them into the device, and then I put them into other devices that may turn things off. It may turn things on. It may cut power to something, or cut power to it intermittently, or do it in a pattern. And you gotta really think outside the box. Like some stuff you may have to like put them in different orders. And this game is a lot of trial and error. Like someone that's really, really good at puzzles, they'll probably beat this game in 4 to 5 hours. But most people pretty much beat this game between 4 and 10 hours. And for those of us like me that get stumped on some puzzles and don't want to, look them up, I'll probably play this game a little bit longer than that. I believe out of all the puzzles, I only had to look up 7 of them. And shockingly, it was the easiest puzzles that I got stuck on when it came to the Turing test. The easiest ones, and which was a shame. But it was a learning process. And it was enjoyable once I passed that puzzle, once I figured out what I needed to do.
When the ISA discovered life on Europa,
and that's another thing that I kind of wanted to mention here towards the end of this video, was that I hope that a lot of these AAA developers
is that they can adapt to
will
new
learn
knowledge
from
more
games
effectively.
like Bulkhead Studios,
Apparently
in the
was not
sense
capitally
of
understood.
take a
is the
page from
Chinese
them.
room
You
problem.
know, these independent game
computer may be
developing
able to
studios, they
interact
show a
with
lot of
new
creativity, they show a lot of
But it does not
unique
know the value of that knowledge.
skills when they're making these games. And you can tell that they're not trying to just make money, even though yes, the whole goal of making a game is to make money so you can make more games. But you can tell when they make games like this game right here that it's not 100% about making money. It's about sharing a story. It's about exposing people to something different. It's about getting people to think differently, think outside the box, to be open-minded. And I love games like this. And we're not going to go down the list of which AAA developers we're talking about. And we all know who they are. They're the ones that drop the same game every year, trying to make money, implementing tactics to get people to spend more money after they already bought the game. Whereas a game like this, they didn't need to add any of that in there. All they did was make a good game and people enjoyed it. So I really hope that Bulkhead Studios made a lot of money off of this game so that they can make a sequel.
With the satellite.
And I hope that they take a page from Portal 2 in
We
making
had a disagreement.
the Turing Test 2 or whatever they decide to call it, and maybe introduce co-op to this game. I could really see myself playing this with someone else, trying to figure out these different puzzles together, because 2 minds are always better than 1. So I've showed off some gameplay. At the end here, I'm going to show off some credits to the game. I hope that you like the gameplay. And with each video that I do for my Let's Run It series, I also do a little small kind of like blog or little article talking about the game. This video is really just for people that don't want to read the article or just don't like to read, or for people that read the article but they also want to see some gameplay. So I made a video of me playing the game and pretty much saying what I pretty much said in the article, but put a little bit of my personality in there as well. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you liked, favorite, and subscribe and all that good stuff. But most importantly, I hope that you share this video. I'd rather share this with other people so other people that may have never been exposed to this game before get exposed to a game that they'll end up loving. And, thank you for watching. Hopefully you come back. In the comments below will be a link to the gaming blog. Say in the comments below whether you played this game, what you thought about the game, or if you never played this game, are you going to try it, or if you're going to get it for somebody. Talk to me in the comments, man. Peace.